All right, and all right, ladies and gentlemen. How is everybody doing out there? Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, right? Well, KJ, man, we thought you didn't like Thanksgiving. Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, well, we got to understand this has nothing to do with liking this holiday per se. This deals with the non-recognition of actually what went on and what you see now that has taken a holy holiday and turned it into a capitalistic advantage for someone else and a disadvantage for others. That's what this is. That's what this is. We've got family memories and all of that tied in with it that makes it hard to separate from certain things. Certain people believe in a certain thing in their mind where you kind of try to do your best to push past it. But again, those who really are against folks, we use what is necessary, which you consider holy, which really is, to your disadvantage. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in us who are the 800 plus strong. The 800 plus strong who believe in, who thirst after, who seek for that, which is a different view. Family, welcome in. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand from your boy's heart here, I'm not for or against anything that isn't either for or against people. Okay, I think it's necessary that we put that on the table because somehow, some way, a lot of times when you hear these podcasts and folks are talking about, not knocking another person's platform. We're just talking about from the standpoint when folks start getting on history, you start getting on government, you start getting on finance, you start getting on relationships. Whenever it get a little too hot in the kitchen, this is where people, this is where things go a little awry. The hearing turns off, right? We stop listening to other people's perspectives, point of views, right? Different views, okay? And then that thing turns into a bloodbath. And the reason it turns into a name-calling fest and all that kind of stuff, the kind of stuff that's going to go on around your Thanksgiving Day tables this evening. The reason for all that is because of the grooming. That's a word we use with pedophilia, where older people condition younger people, right? That's just how we're going to say it. Because we got to get away from this older and young thing, right? Not from the standpoints of which one can't do nothing. We got to get away from that and understand everybody got something to bring to the table, right? Young people being conditioned by older people so that they could take advantage of them, correct? Right? These different words that we brainwashing is one that's very popular. Conditioning is another one. Not just the conditioner for your hair, right? Depending on where you live in the world, some of this water is real tough, man. You need something to keep that hair smooth, right? Pliable, brushable, combable, right? So that you're not looking like the quote unquote supposed savage, which we're going to get into today, ladies and gentlemen, right? Just to show and prove. I'm not talking off the cuff here. When we bring information, we bring it on purpose. So we've been talking a lot about, we're going to tie it in. We're going to tie it in with some verse, right? We understand your boy is Christian, right? So again, not like the normal spear and fork toting and to my Christian brothers and sisters want to have a conversation. That's fine. But we're just saying what it is, right? Again, judgment's got to start. See, we're missing some words here. Got to start. And if it starts, it's got to continue and end in the house of God. We ain't got time to be worrying about what other people are doing, right? We ain't got time to be pointing up or down our nose, forehead, or whatever body part you got, right? At somebody else thinking they're worse than you. No, we're all in the same soup. Gifted, many gifts, as we are told, right? That don't make us no better than the other. That just makes us part of a body, right? So we'll end off on some of that just to put some tie into all this. Some people ain't even worried about that. They're worried about what the family about to bring out on on the next course, right? For our Italian brothers and sisters, other people groups, German brothers and sisters. Of course, you go over to the black neighborhood, right? And Big Mama, Big Daddy, talk to your just to put this in here real quick as we're talking about the different things going in cultures, man. Talk to your grandparents and great grandparents about what life was going on these lands, man. I know we like to do the history book and search online for things and all that. And we're going to read you something here that is a book that's just been digitized and put online, right? We're going to give you the source. Y'all can rewind and slow down my voice, whatever the technology, audio technology that's out there, right? We may even put it in the comments, the little comment description box so that people can click on it and readily look for it. I might do that, right? But understand here, ladies and gentlemen, and again, as we said, as a family, right? We bring information as it comes along. That's how this podcast is going to go, right? That's how life is. At one point, people didn't learn something, then they learned something, then they passed it down, right? So this is no different here. This is how we learn. This is how we grow. This is why I say repetition is necessary for learning. If you want to learn something, you don't listen to it 2 times and that's it. That thing becomes part of you. There's an idea that's out there, ladies and gentlemen, and it's something that was brought to my attention. So again, we share it with the family, right? If I believe it's something that can help, we're going to share it with you. If I believe it's something that is for your harm that you need to watch out for, we're going to share it with you, right? This is no different than what would happen in somebody's family, or again, what would happen around the dinner table this evening or any time during dinner, lunch, breakfast, whatever, right? Again, parents are supposed to be, we've already gone over this on this podcast, but just to repeat, parents are supposed to be teaching their kids, and again, this is what the Bible is talking about, right? And it wouldn't just be for parents, it'd be anybody who has something to say to somebody. No time of day is any time of day. Let me say it again. No time of day, right? Well, there's no distinction on time, right? Is any time of the day. That means every time is while the second, sometimes y'all hear my clock in the background. Again, it's not only just for dramatic effect, but it's also because time's ticking, y'all. This is a reminder. You got to remind yourself of things. We forget and do what Massa wants us doing all day long because we have forgotten certain things about ourselves, about people around us, right? Some of that has been forced forgetfulness. Some of it is on our own. Let's get into this here. I've been talking long enough, right? We all got we all got some food. We're not going to try to keep y'all long today because again, the topic. See, ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about the people groups and one, right, as we're talking about Thanksgiving, shout out to our military, right, our defense system, our defense brothers and sisters out there, right, keeping this land safe, although acquired from a stolen. Just got to keep it real, y'all, right? Although acquired improperly, again, if you speak to, and we're going to talk about native groups here, because I don't want people thinking that this thing is just, say, Choctaw or Cherokee, right? My grandmother's, we've talked on this podcast, is Cherokee. I don't want to talk about the Lakota, the Cheyenne, the Hopi, Iroquois, the Sioux Nation, the Cree, that's C-R-E-E, right? Not the K-R-E, not the thing that they put in Marvel Comics. Ah, man, do y'all really know? See, they say, they say that there's certain things you don't know and you can't find, man. That is not true, right? Again, the way it is said in the Bible is that knowledge, right? These treasures, and knowledge is definitely a treasure, man. Hidden in earthen vessels. It's hidden from those who have a nefarious mindset to finding out information, to hurt people with it. And it's hidden from those who are not looking. You got to start looking, y'all. Start looking. Find out information. Find out what's going on in this world. Don't just listen to the doldrums they keep telling you, man, because they telling you after what they've been told. Most people don't go and study for themselves. They don't, right? So no, not the another one of these the Kree tribe, right? not the Kree, not Captain Marvel and the Kree. Cree, right? All these different tribes, man, on this land giving us such beautiful things that we believe and love today, man. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. We on that corn, we on them potatoes, right? We on that turkey. Where do you think that came from? All of this is not what you think it is. And I know we just pass along with it because, again, you've been conditioned in your mind to do so. And that same passing over that we do in one area, again, life is lived down here. I know we discredit a lot of stuff. Some of this isn't as spooky as what you think it is, y'all. We're just talking about the natural laws down here on this life. I was looking at some of the the stats of this podcast, right? Which are pretty cool for something in its starter point. Of course, anything could be bigger. You don't want it to be smaller, right? But it's cool to see how we're reaching places, man. Russia, Germany, right? We're reaching places in Europe. We're reaching places across this planet. The word of truth is real, y'all. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple, right? It's on YouTube. You can find it. You can find this podcast if y'all want the information, shout it out. Let your boy know, right? We're talking about getting the word of truth out there. This is knowledge you either can believe and look at, research for yourself. We're gonna echo the sentiment of Apostle, or however you want to look at it, St. Paul, right? Go and study for yourself. Don't just believe what I'm saying. This is why we're going to leave you the little thing here, the little information where I'm getting this from, because this is important, y'all. You living life down here, man, don't know. This is why we talked a long time ago about dealing with sexes and genders, I should say. Because again, for some odd reason, the act of sex, now we gotta switch out gender, who men and women are, and put sex there. That's how sex is on our mind. In an untrained way, because at one point a certain word was used for certain things, like we're going to talk about, as we have been saying on this podcast. You start using one word for folks and everybody, it's like an Oprah thing. You're an Indian and you're an Indian and everybody is an Indian. No different than over in Europe. It's everybody, while they're European, you got your German and your Russian and your Italian and your English and your Welsh and your Irish and your Scottish. Come on, somebody, right? They're people groups. Funny how when you get to certain ones, though, you don't know who they are. They just African American or black, or as the Spanish called different dark skin tone folks when they saw them, Negro. That mess is done by design, y'all. We'll get there. We'll get there where we'll give that kind of information as well. We'll give that information as well, yeah. It's sad, right? It's sad. Just because you have a natural, or not natural, I don't want to call it. I'm not giving people a pass like that, man. You're making a choice. See, our prejudger is broken. We got to put that thing back in alignment, and you do it by walking in love with people. That's how you realign that thing. I don't have to hate on the Satanist, the paganist, the Wiccan, the Druid, the Muslim. I don't have to, the Jew. Let's be honest, when you start talking about the Abrahamic faiths, man, there's a whole lot of hate there. One thinks that they're more original than the other. When you're supposed to be, never mind. We're going to leave it alone. There ain't nowhere in the east, north, west, or south. This is to our Christian brothers and sisters who looking at things and where stuff is coming from. This is it. When you talk about the word Catholic, when it says universally, this is universal. We talking planets, man. The stuff we believe in, like Buddhists, Hinduists, all those old religions, man. Where do you think that is coming from? Did somebody just have one peace pipe? Since we're talking about Thanksgiving, right? Shout out to the natives of these lands, right? Of which we're supposed to be sharing with. At the end of the day, man, did they smoke one or too many peace pipes? If everybody who clowns on somebody smoking cannabis, let's just say this, let's just put this on the table, right? Again, there is personal responsibility. I'll be the first person to say that on this podcast about everything we do on this planet. There's a personal responsibility that we have with it. But it's not as restrictive as everybody says. Maybe more people need to be not, now see again, your Bible tells you excessively drunk. Do not be drunk with wine where it is in excess, right? Maybe if more people had a little sip or two from time to time, right? Had all of us, and this is a thing for all of us now, not talking down to nobody, right? And we've seen in certain podcasts here where we talk, I don't want to call it from the heart, but where we talk from a heart perspective, and it's resonating. So we see, ladies and gentlemen, we always talk about that, right? Because we care about people. This is not coming from a place of hate. You know, Defense for People Cruise, while we were shouting out the military there, is a thing for everybody, right? You're supposed to defend yourself. So when people are rolling up in these churches and schools and stuff like that, we need to rethink, and just like what happened up in Buffalo a little while ago, right? Dude just letting off rounds in a black town. These are things we forget, right? But the power of Thanksgiving in this holiday season is putting these things that we throw out of balance back in balance, y'all. Put it in your remembrance. The death toll going on in Chicago and in the inner cities because people will not operate correctly together. And the sickness that pours off on one because we are connected as humans then hops on the next one. And if you do that thing in reverse, that same connection point helps the other way around and hops on the next person. We got to start being good to each other, y'all. We got to start loving on each other, as we got to start finding out who we are as people, both internally and externally, right? You yourself got to find out about you, where you come from. I know that people will tell you don't make no sense. I know. You got to be a good drone for massa. So of course you would have to ignore that. Like it or lump it, y'all, right? That's an old school one that the preachers used to say. And I guess it's just language speech from that time period anyway. Like it or lump it, right? Believe it or not. Ripley's Believe It or Not, right? That's normally how we say it. There ain't no cap here what we talking about, y'all. We don't start loving on each other, man, this thing is going to turn into more of a blood fest than what you think you're seeing now. Telling you that. And how do I know that? Look at history. Oh, man. People thinking 1860 something is so long ago. It ain't that long ago. It's just a couple generation turned backward. That's all. Couple grandpappies. That's it, man. And you right there. You right there with them calling you boy. Since we say cowboy so much, not cowhand. On my page, I did that a little while ago on one of my social medias, you know, just start using the words of what it is, man. I know everybody, they start getting wild with it, like, so let's go all bellas, let's just do all the language and blah, blah, blah. No. The point was not that all the language was screwed. The point was there were certain languages that they X'd out. So let's start using them words. That's been transposed or something else, y'all. Let's do that. Let's do that. As men, since this thing became so chauvinistic that you got to blame God every time something happened on the woman, right? Let's start giving credit to the women now. You ain't got to show that as feminism or whatever word you want to. Again, by the time that ism gets on there, man, and ladies, this is not taken away from where y'all need to be in places of power. Listen to what I'm saying. We're talking about where you take the thing that is meant for your good, and massa who don't give two damns about you takes it for your detriment. We got to be careful of those things. The power of a person's sexuality, right? Female sexuality. Femininity, if I could say that word, right? That thing is very real. Same thing with masculinity. But see, men, we don't went out of balance. Now every dude got to have a handlebar mustache, right? Or some long-looking goatee. Because you don't know how people groups used to look back in the day, right? You got this predisposed thing that came from massa to you about how you're supposed to look and act. Not how it really went down, though. Talking about feminism, just putting it out there. Do you know how many women were in leadership positions back then? See, again, y'all, please listen to when I'm talking about these isms, you got to be careful of them using you against you, because that's the point when you're dealing with greed. Greed don't give a damn. Just like on the side when you're not being greedy, there's no damns given, right? We looking to do good, right? We read a verse in the Bible. We're talking about David. Again, for whatever y'all think about King David, right? This idea that comes out in this story where David is trying to look to be good to someone in a certain household in this kingdom, right? Are we looking to be good to somebody this Thanksgiving? Who are we reaching out to that we know that, again, right, to our Christian brothers and sisters, this whole thing about being anointed. You got all that olive oil, that holy Shekinah, right? You got all this poured on you. Who are you being good to? Because again, that anointed, and it's a challenge to everybody, okay? But we're just saying some things because we're bringing out to light certain things, okay? We can't keep not talking about Bruno anymore. That's not working. It hasn't worked. You know, no knock on our parents, grandparents, and before all them. But we're just saying, right? This thing is expansive and it grows. Everybody in every people group don't know. Even our Christian brothers and sisters that believe this thing with the disciples, like the 12 that was around him, like we go so kind of spooky with it, like they was all in one accord on one thread and all that kind of stuff. Man, don't you see the verses where Jesus is correcting these people? Oh, well, those corrections are a little different than it is today, KJ. What? When the cloak of deception comes down, man, when deception comes down, that thing is very real. That thing is real, y'all. Right? So, again, enough of me going on and rebelled on here. Let's get into this. Let's get into this document. Let's show y'all how things go flippity flop when it comes to this equivocal language that we got from the good old king and queen of jolly England, right? Every people group on this planet didn't speak the way they do. They were more direct in their speech, right? Less words to interchange from other words. So, in your Google thing, as we're going along here, we're going to be reading an article from Peabody Museum, Harvard University. The title of the book is Standard or Headdress. We're going to be, again, we had mentioned the 3 people groups that we know of that are on this planet from studying history. This is not me making this up, right? Before Europe came calling. Let's not do this. But we're talking about before 1492, right? And we're talking about by the time that everybody did their little land adventure, okay, and started divvying up again that which was not theirs. You start to see where they're documenting and looking at the people groups around them then. You know, before all of Mexico was taken from our Mexican brothers and sisters. And what we call today Texas and California, part of Florida, right? Look at a map. Just look at a map, an old map, pre, and sometimes you put in the word prehistoric, whatever. You can do all that kind of thing. Let's see if we can pull up one here. I've done this a ton of times. Bear with me one moment. All right, so when you type in your computer, phone, however you want to, how you want to do it, right? Now, again, there's one here talking about these treaties. These treaties back in the 1800s were some very, very, very damaging things, man. You talk about wanting to a wolf in sheep's clothing. This thing is very real, right? You ever talk to our native brothers and sisters? They have no problem telling you that, by the way, either. So, when you look at a map of Mexico, or when they talk about the territory of Mexico, now again, Texas is also in this. They don't necessarily mention Texas, but again, the more study that you do about what went on back then in that time period, yeah, Mexico is part of it, right? So California, Nevada, Utah, most of Arizona, the western half of New Mexico, Colorado, certain places you look, it's the whole of the state, but the western quarter of Colorado, the western quarter of Wyoming. Again, this is just something where we're just talking about how you find the information, right? You can click on the sources, all that kind of thing. Look in your phone. Land. What land was considered Mexico? That's all you say, and you come up with a whole lot of stuff, bro. You come up with a whole lot of stuff, man. Again, ladies and gentlemen, 3 people groups that we talk about on this planet again that we know from history. You have the natives, who we call Native American, right? All those various tribes. You have our Mexican brothers and sisters, right? People living all the way from up in North America. And clearly you already know, you've got Iroquois, the Sioux. We already talked about those a little bit earlier, right? People that were living over on the northern border, right? We're talking all over these lands now, going all the way down into South America, and various people groups on each side of the coastlines. So the East and West Indies, right? Again, one of the more popular ones you see in WWE is the Samoans, right? We're going to go see Moana 2 here in a little bit. Going to be talking about a different people group that they're pulling little things from. You know what I mean? Whether it be like the Solomon Islands, Hawaii, Philippines, you know, all that kind of family island dynamic that we don't know nothing about, because we threw away see, when they talk about this attack on the family, we threw away family dynamic a long time ago, chasing after master. Yeah, when you go to the slave part, yeah, they broke up families and homes and stuff like that. But at some point, we've still allowed that thinking to be there unrenewed in our mind, and we still break up our family dynamic, right? This happens for every people group. Because see, again, what you don't know, we always look at the Negro, right? What you're going to get into the top. We'll get there, right? We'll get there. Give me a moment. This is an expansive subject here, so give me a moment. Let's see. I'm sorry. Let me finish this off. California, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, most of Arizona, Colorado, parts of Oklahoma. Oh, man. I guess that's when you go out to Oklahoma and you see all them taco trucks. I guess that's why. Shout out to the Oklahomans one time, man. Oh, man. Kansas and Wyoming. I don't know whether or not y'all can hear the old Snoopy clock in the background, but if you do, just wait a second. Since it's almost Christmas time, right? Starting tomorrow. There you go. And of course, we also know about, of all these states named, Texas is also one of them, right? So, again, I do believe that there's an old map of a western part of Florida as well. Florida was a little stretched more than just the panhandle of what you see there. Or at the very least, I think before they started divvying up the states, Florida might just been belong to Florida. I don't know if it was part of Mexico, but so, and then isn't that a lot of land, y'all? That's a lot of land where everybody living, right? Arizona, party town out there, right? Colorado, we already know, Mountain High. See, again, that peace pipe, man. Maybe we need to smoke. Maybe we need to start smoking more. Maybe we'll stop smoking each other in the street if we were smoking more cannabis and tobacco, not cigarettes, tobacco. Partake of this good earth, ladies and gentlemen. I know what all the church folk and everybody telling you. Partake of that which God gave in this good earth for us to richly enjoy. That's not twisting scripture. That's just the real right to you, man. God's love letter right to you. Get high. If you got to drink a little bit, it's okay. Do not be excessive in what you're doing, so that we don't become menaces to each other down here, because it ain't no good to be getting high. Don't think. There's one thing that people say, like, oh, this dude pro-black, so everything is cool with black people. No, I'm not pro-dumbass, okay? I'm pro-black. There's a difference, and that also goes for the rest of the people groups down here. See, to be pro-black would also be for the rest of the people groups down here. You live with groups of people down here. What? I know we missed the heart of a thing, and that's okay, because we ain't got nothing but time, y'all. We got nothing but time. That's why I say it on this podcast. We got nothing but time. So we got time to learn how to do this relationship thing right. Right? And if it's not, I posted this on Facebook. If it's not us that gets it right, that responsibility falls to the kids. It don't change. Shout out to the young people, man. Y'all seeing through a lot of this mess with your parents. It's okay. You can still be respectful to them. Come on, somebody. Yeah. Hey, it's about learning. It's about the old learning from the young and the young learning from the old. Don't you believe that? What's that letter? I can't remember the name of that letter. It's a good thing, because I know Willie Lynch. Yeah. Don't y'all believe that Willie Lynch mess? The old ain't supposed to be fighting the young, or vice versa, man. We got to learn from each other. We all we got, man. Oh wow, we all we got. All right, let's get let's get into this thing, man. All right. Peabody Museum, Harvard University standard or headdress. That's what you type in your deal. It'll bring you to Google Books, which will bring you to an historical essay from an archaeological, looks all old school and whatnot, right? Archaeological and ethnological. Man, that was a little bit of a tongue twister. Papers of the Peabody Museum, Harvard University, Volume 1, Number 1, right? Standard or headdress. This is an essay of people as they are studying back in the day, right? This is coming out of Cambridge, Massachusetts, right? To show you how. You got Cambridge over in England, Cambridge on the Americas, man. And this ain't Europe 2.0. Cambridge, Massachusetts. But I'm sorry, man. If y'all don't believe it, that's all right, right? Peabody Museum of American Archaeology and Ethnology, right? This is written by Zelia Nuttall, Special Assistant of the Peabody Museum. 1888. We back in time, y'all. Shout out to Back to the Future, right? The late 1800s, right? Or as they say, the early 19th century, right? We've gone over this on time, talking on this podcast about time and breaking down the centuries and stuff. You see the 19th century. That's not starting in the 1900s. It ends there. 1 year after, to be exact. So everything you read, 1888, is the 19th century, meaning 1800 to 1901. That's the 19th century. That's the way we decided to do it. You would figure, right? 18th century, never mind. This is how humans have decided to use their creative ability to divvy up time, right? I know we're 30 some odd minutes in here. We land in the plane, ladies and gentlemen. It's a little bit of a this one had a bit of turbulence on it, right? So you got to ease onto the runway. So as you scroll down here, we're going to be reading from page 6, right? Yeah, page 6. Well, we can start in 5 and then we'll go to 6. This is the description of good old Montezuma. Powerful Mexican king Montezuma, right? This is a retelling of the hat that Montezuma wore then, that we all see with the beak on the nose and all that kind of thing, right? They sing that in the military, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, right? Which again, the rich tradition of the military has to be tempered with what was going on these lands, man. We did lose real innocent, honest, good-hearted people to war and death. So I'm not making fun of that. But when you talk about this from the standpoint of, oh, we just defending these lands, from what was going on these lands, no wonder you had a civil war. You split yourself in two doing that mess. Never mind. So we get down here, right? It's on page 5. It's split into 2 paragraphs. We're going to skip the first paragraph, get into the second one, first sentence. In 1878, his attention was directed to its former presence at the Belvedere Museum by a notice in Baron von Stacken's descriptive catalog of the Imperial Amberus collection printed in Vienna in 1855. Now, this is describing what this headdress looked like. Of course, there's a lot of words here we're saying, but hang in there. Wherein among rare objects from various parts of the world, it is mentioned as follows. So again, they collecting this stuff, putting it in museums, which is same thing they do today, right? Number 3, so on their list, right? Like you watch Indiana Jones and whatever was stored. I think it was not the Last Crusade. It might have been the Lost Ark, something like that. They wind up putting relics in a museum, and they make jokes on it throughout the movies and stuff like that. For those who watch the movies, they know. Okay. Number 3, a Mexican headdress about 3 foot in height, composed of magnificent green feathers with golden hued luster and of colored bands of featherwork studded with small plates of gold. So this thing was ornate, as the word goes, right? Since we like making fun of the word demure. Shout out to Deadpool's wife for just acting a fool, but I digress, right? Just saying, y'all, right? Just because you got money don't mean you need to be a jackass. Just like if you broke, don't mean you got to be a jackass, right? So as we go on, this hat is expensive. Watch how they describe the hat. This is in Mexico now. This specimen was termed in the inventory of 1596. So they're talking about something that they saw that they got all the way back in the 1500s, right? Because again, this is a record. In 1596, a Moorish hat. Does anybody know what a Moorish hat looks like? Yeah. Again, you can kind of, we can have fun with this, right? So just Google Moorish hat. Now, of course, they come up with some very silly looks, but you get down into this. People also ask, what's a fez hat? Now it says what a fez hat symbolizes. But again, and of course it leads you to only one people group, which are Turkish folks. But still, a Moorish hat has kind of feathers to it. You actually see one off in the corner when you look under images. You can see what one of these Moorish hats looks like. There's other images of Moors. All you got to do is you see the people riding on camels in Spain, all that kind of thing, different places. A Moorish hat. This is dealing with black folks. But we in Mexico. Again, check the verbiage. Was termed back in 1596. You know, just a little bit over 100 years after Christopher Columbus said he found Americas. A Moorish hat, okay? And again, a lot of this is y'all are reading. It just goes on to continue to talk about what was going on, right? So, going to page 6. Technically at the end of 5. Yeah, we'll go to the end of 5. So now we're in this, let's see, what is this? The third paragraph. First sentence. Its earliest record, dating as far back as 1596, was found in the first inventory of the Ambras collection, written 1 year after the demise of the Archduke Ferdinand of Tyrol. I don't know if I'm saying that right. The founder of the collection. That's not really the part here. I mean, you can look who he is just for reference, but this is not the part we're trying to get after. The founder of the collection, by the imperial commissioners appointed to revise his will, on folio 472 of this ancient document, it is cataloged with other objects in featherwork contained in a chest. Now this is number 9, and is described again as a Moorish hat of beautiful, long, lustrous green and gold-hued feathers, bedecked with red, white, and blue feathers. I guess maybe that's where they got part of the red, white, and blue from. Red, white, and blue feathers and gold rosettes and ornaments. So again, it's just reiterating how this hat looked, right? It looked pretty. I mean, again, it looks like some fashion going on. I guess if Ric Flair was involved back then, you'd hear some woo, right? In front on the forehead, it has a beak of pure gold, okay? The term Moorish, as here applied, can scarcely be regarded as a deceptive one. Scarcely be. So this isn't, they're being for real, right? That's what they're telling you. Inasmuch as Montezuma, the king of Temestian and Mexico, is subsequently designated as a Moorish king. I hope some of y'all are picking up on this, man. At some point, there was dark-skinned folks here. I'm not just joking saying that. This is real. in the same inventory of 1596. Now watch this. The next paragraph, right, or maybe first, however you want to look at it, on page 6. It's interesting, excuse me, it's interesting to note the gradual changes that occur in the wording of the subsequent periodical official registration of this Moorish hat. Interesting indeed. In 1613, I wonder if they're going to remove this link off of either off my podcast or off of this information is rough, y'all. In 1613, its description was faithfully reproduced. In 1621, the word Indian was substituted for Moorish. With this single alteration, the original text was again transcribed in 1730. Stop. Think on this, y'all. Think on how badly they are messing with you, man. If they do this with people groups on the planet, what you think they doing with you at work? What you think they doing with you in the market? What you think they doing with you and your family? These were family groups of people who were explorers on the Americas, specifically in Mexico at the time. This was the mess they were pulling. You just switching words? Because you don't want to give credit. But that's okay. See, the good God maker creator above gives credit. From one blood, all nations of the earth were made and created, y'all. Whether you believe it or not, all you got to do is look through history and see how many groups of peoples living on this planet. That they're taking words and switching the names. So when you see that word Indian, y'all need to start paying attention to which Indian they talking at this point, y'all. This is why I say natives. Man, we talk again, you would be native, right? Speaking to our European brothers and sisters, you would be native to Italy. Even if your daddy was part Irish or whatever, right? Your mama, grandmama, somebody is an eighth Italy. You are native to that land via her, right? I know we don't look at it this way because we've been taught by Massa to discredit ourselves. I know. All right. So we gonna end off, y'all, and go on about our day. Because again, some of y'all got food to eat and all this kind of thing. Y'all take this stuff and stir it in your mind and heart and spirit, right? And just understand, you can look at the source. Again, we said that it's the Peabody. If I need to put it in a link, somebody just reach out to me, let me know. I will put it in the link for folks because I know this is semi mind blowing. I get it. I get it. All you got to do when you Google in your phone, you Google Peabody Museum or on your computer, Peabody Museum, Harvard University, standard or headdress. Separate headdress. Don't put it as one word. The first thing you come up with will be an article from Zelia Natali, 1967. It's the same person that we just read about. Right. We got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, what we believe in this earth, whether it's Abrahamic faith, whether it's original, people who look at it older than that and all that kind of thing. We understand. Again, we don't knock anything on this podcast, man. We have the right to choose down here. Right. Clearly, people who did not want to give people credit didn't give right credit, man. Dark-skinned folks, the Mexicans, natives, people, we was living here. We was living here and enjoying things. Not with clothes on neither. Not all of us had on clothes. We had on barely nothing, man. So when y'all talk about this clothes thing, I'm just saying. No, come on, man. I understand the respect part of it. Don't get me wrong. But we talking about this rugged, dogmatic, like, no. Because that wasn't what it was back in the day. Again, change for change's sake. Again, I'm not, see, for folks who get off in the mind here, this defense in the mind, like, oh, okay, you're talking about everybody should be walking around nude. I ain't saying you should be walking around nude, but we need to be less restrictive than we are. Oh, yeah. Stop shaming women because they dressing, the man want them dressing that way, then you going to shame her on the back end. Something wrong with you, man. Yo, something wrong with you, man. That ain't right. Anyway, do you want it looking good for you or not? Which one is it? Yeah. Oh man, we trying to turn this thing into Handmaid's Tale out here, man. This isn't cool. This isn't cool. Shoot. Man, ladies, kids, everybody of different types of cultures and stuff like that, y'all need to stand up, man. They got some nefarious stuff on their mind. That's real. And ain't nothing against them and hurting them and all that kind of thing like they did us, man. But we talking about walking in love on this thing. This is rough, yo. Jeez. So, Colossians, we were reading before last time from Colossians 2. You get to the end of it here, and again, this is really the end here. I know we're 45 minutes in. Thank y'all for hanging in here with me, right? I hope the information of which y'all hung in for helps you this holiday season and days and holidays and all kinds of stuff to come, y'all, right? This land we live on is truly America the Beautiful. It really is. And so are many of the people, even to the ones that have a different mindset, man. We got to drop the hate that made these lands and pick up the love that is the foundation of these lands, y'all. We do, right? So at the end of Colossians 2, or right in the middle, it's talking about not letting people judge you in meat or drink, in verse 16 of chapter 2 in Colossians, right? Let no man judge you in meat, drink, respect of a holy day. Thanksgiving is a holy day. To these people on these lands, Thanksgiving was is very holy. They took the time to bless God above, to bless the Creator, the Great Spirit, as some say, right? Thanking them for giving food on a land where it could be very horrible to get food, and it is still today, especially with the way they make it full of pesticides or take something off the shelf or whatever it is. I know people not paying attention. There's a reason why some of your food isn't there what you saw before. It's okay. We can keep going along. We're making money for them, not us, right? Things like how to last in the cold weather and stuff like that, right? People getting sick. When you read the first events around this whole quote unquote now modernized Thanksgiving, or forgetful Thanksgiving, I should say. Maybe semi-thankful Thanksgiving. They had problems with disease, right? And hunting certain animals that they didn't have over in Europe. They needed help. They didn't reciprocity, as the word goes. The reciprocating part of it was not there in their mind, y'all. I'm sorry, right? We can see that. But for those, see, my people, right? We won't do that. We won't do the preachy thing. Yeah, I'll try not to do the preachy thing, man. My people called by my name, y'all bear that cross on your chest and on your body, right? The symbol that it represents, whether or not we look, whether it's the cross or the ankh, because again, you're talking about robbing and taking from certain things, but we'll leave that alone, right? We just put it on the table. Guys and gals, we got to understand this. This is real. This is very real. Our lives are precious, right? In respect of a holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days, right? Don't let somebody judge you because this is what you choose to do, okay? You get down into 18. Let no man beguile you of your reward in a voluntary humility and worshiping of angels. Again, it's telling beguile. Y'all look up what the word beguile is. We trying to end here. I've been on for a minute. So y'all look up the word beguile. Intruding into those things which he has not seen, vainly puffed up in his fleshly mind. So when we talk about the flesh now, we're talking about people, let no man judge you. See, and he's writing, this is like holy people, right? These are the folks. And then around now, of course, it wouldn't just be the holy people only, okay? This would also be anybody. Let's not do this thing where we're looking at words and we just did not, I can't see anything else because you ain't even paying attention. We got to pay better attention, family, right? This is our lives, our kids' lives, and our lives, and it's on the line, man, right? So, there's things people do. Don't let them beguile you because of it, right? You give in humility, voluntary humility. Look at that now, right? Worshiping of angels, intruding into things you have not seen. You don't know about this. We talked about this last year, Halloween. We discredit the spiritual realm because we know very little of it. Does that mean it's not there, y'all? Again, you know what? Since people, whether an Eastern thought or not, so since karma is a thing, which it is, right? And we readily say it. Again, other places say it in different ways, like sowing and reaping, seed time and harvest, right? What you give comes back to you. Goes around, comes around, right? Look at how life is, because what we've been sowing is a lot of death and destruction, y'all. That's why you see a lot of death and destruction. It's time to start sowing life. It's time to start rebuild the towns that were burned down in Tulsa. We're talking about freedom, refuge for people. This is why the Rainbow Coalition was so powerful, ladies and gentlemen. It didn't matter, homosexual, transgender, white, black, KKK members. Fred Hampton reached out to KKK members. The man trying to use you means the man's trying to use you. That's it. They don't care. Never mind. Right? Don't let people get after you on this kinds of stuff, right? You are who you've been made to be, and you live in that thing as best you can, right? That's it. And since it's Thanksgiving, we will end off in this awesome little deal here, dealing with, let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. But yeah, now here it is. Philippians chapter 4. We were in 3 a while ago talking about certain things, but Philippians 4, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication. I want to leave y'all with this, what the word supplication means. I don't want to print it. Oh man, one thing that'll keep you humble is when technology goes sideways, y'all. That'll keep you humble. The action of asking. Now they say begging. I'll leave the word begging out of there because of the negative connotation that is too much put with begging. For something, stop believing people. I got to say this to y'all. Stop having people make you feel bad for when you ask for things you believe you should have. You're not going way above and beyond and all that kind of thing. You ask for that thing boldly, damn it. Don't make them make you feel bad because you listen, you need stuff on the job. You need it on the job now. If you need it, whatever it is, right? Don't let people make you feel bad for something earnestly or humbly. So let's say again, the action of asking for something earnestly or humbly. That's where we at, ladies and gentlemen. So be careful for nothing, but in everything, in your prayers, right? And in asking for something earnestly and humbly. We need more money in our pocket, ladies and gentlemen, right? We need better health care. We need protections from folks who think they need to hurt and harm transgender and homosexual people. We need to protect ourselves when we go out in the street, whether it be using a firearm or your own body given to you. Learn MMA and fighting and boxing, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing wrong with that. Stop having people tell you something's wrong with that. You should defend yourself. That's real. When we say you should defend yourself on this podcast, y'all, we mean that, family. People bullying folks because of their skin tone. And I know folks like to flip it the other way around, but we talking the real. People bullying folks because of their skin tone and how they look and their body size and all that. Y'all need to defend yourself against that, but you can walk humbly, see, with prayer and the idea of asking for something humbly. See, do the opposite of what they doing to you, right? That's where the strength that don't mean you get walked on. We said you do it in an attitude opposite of what they're doing. Right. Let your requests be made known unto God. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go. We're gonna enjoy our family dinner, right? It's turkey time, y'all. And they say that it's a happy Thanksgiving and Turkey Day. I hope y'all enjoyed the Thanksgiving Day parade by Macy's. It was pretty cool. It was cool to see all the different people. Your boy, hopefully we will do a Wicked review. I want to see the movie Wicked. Probably gonna drag my wife with it. She'll be okay. I hope. We're gonna see it, see how it is, and just enjoy life, man. We're just enjoying life. Too much has happened in our lives. Too much has happened in y'all's lives for us to just sit there and not enjoy this thing while we breathe in this beautiful air we breathe in, right? That's what I got for y'all today. Look out for each other. God bless y'all, man. Thank you for walking this road with me, family. And as always, and until next time, look to find the beauty in a different view.